Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 12 of the anime series Ushio to Tora, and this is absolutely insane. Finally getting tons of background information about the yokai, especially and specifically Japanese yokai and yokai monsters, and why they are effectively gunning for Ushio, because they are on the attack in this episode. They want to just kill him outright. And we're finding out how that, plays into his trying to seek out his mother who, for all intents and purposes, he has lived the majority of his life believing to be dead. And how that sort of comes into play with Hakumen no Mono. This, we were kind of led to believe it was this like male monster creature person thing. We didn't really know exactly. And we find out much more information through the kappa that, Ushio basically meets at sort of that little pond or whatever you want to call it, that little lake, just trying to escape all of the monsters, the yokai monsters that are on the attack, trying to just end him from right out of the gate. They know that this is his mother that is effectively, as we're told, protecting Hakumen no Mono, or at least put up a protective barrier, seemingly. And my question is, could they have it wrong? Could it be maybe she put up a barrier to try to keep him locked in place, and maybe by attacking Ushio and or the mother, could they undo that and then free Hakumen no Mono inadvertently? Something along those lines. I don't exactly know. Of course, Ushio and Tora get split up after they're attacked on this bus ride. I thought it was hilarious that Tora wants to experience the bus. 5 minutes later, he's bored out of his mind. Yes, the true bus driving experience, or bus riding experience. But they come under the attack from these yokai monsters who know that he is in the area. They can sense the beast spear and all that kind of stuff. And they send this bus going over a cliffside. We find out that only the bus driver, was killed and everything. Thankfully, all the people on the bus, I was freaked out about that. Because, of course, Ushio probably would have stayed behind to help the people, were it not for the fact that they had to get, out of that area because of how bloodthirsty these yokai monsters were. He didn't want to see more, sort of collateral damage, innocent lives being risked and or taken. So they basically head to the woods, and this is where they're effectively split up. And you have this old-time monster who is apparently well familiar with Tora, using his old name and everything, to the point where Tora has to tell him like 60 times in this episode, stop using my old name. I don't like my old name. And this cat will not back away from it. It's almost like he's trying to stick a thorn in Tora's side, maybe get him disgruntled or something, tick him off, because it's the yokai opinion, what are you doing with this kid? You say you want to eat him. You haven't made one move to do so. You haven't made one attempt. You say you want to eat him. You're, doing this, that, and the other thing. You're haunting him and everything. But we see you attacking other monsters. And, of course, Tora's like, well, look, anyone who steps to me, I'm going to consider a threat. Doesn't matter. Human, monster, whatever, which way it goes. And I think Tora's in denial. He's kind of afraid to confront his own thoughts and emotions, in that his partnering up with Ushio has given him so many different new experiences that he never would have, had before. And here Ushio is a decent guy. He doesn't go around killing monsters just for the hell of it, like these monsters want to do. They just want to kill him and no questions asked, And I think there's a lot of Tora that's very pent up, and he's afraid to just confront the fact that this kid is good. I've been working with him. We can find an equilibrium, we can find an equal footing for yokai and humankind alike. And that's really what is called into question with the discussion, the story that Kappa tells Ushio about Hakumen no Mono and the mother and everything like that. Hakumen no Mono came from China in the form of this young woman, basically using sort of, I guess, transitional forms and everything like that. I don't think he was possessing someone. I think he just embodied himself to look like a young woman. And I thought it was a male previously. That's the way they describe Hakumen no Mono, he. But probably in the monster sense, it's a he and everything. But the point being, it was like this uber yokai monster who wanted to consume and wipe out all yokai monsters. It wanted to be the only one, and it wanted to be leaving sort of humanity spared, because it would feed then off its sadness, its despair, its anger, its rage, all the negative emotions. It would probably feed off humans literally as well, but especially all of the hardship and all of the just bad things that come with humanity. This thing, it would be the fuel to this thing's fire. But not without first wiping the floor with all, committing genocide against its own kind, in a sense, the correct way to reference genocide, trying to wipe out its whole species except for itself, to be the one lone power, to be the one lone creature sitting at the top of the mountain and then feeding off the negative emotions and the negative vibes and all the negative whatever interactions of humanity and all that kind of stuff. And so Ushio's mother comes into play along the lines of, during the time Tora was away, was trapped by the beast spear, they find many times ways to get at Hakumen no Mono, but he's on the run. They constantly have him on the run. And they lost him for a while, and then finally they found him again one last time, only now he's got the protective barrier around him. It's kind of like what we saw with the little yokai Omamori, who is actually, we see her in this episode as well. She and Saya are, I guess, traveling, and they can sense all of the negative, just energy surrounding the yokai of the mountain area that they're sort of driving by, which is where Ushio and Tora are. Same going with the Kamaitachi. We see that Ushio and Tora were still staying with them. They're finally leaving in this episode. And as they've gone to leave, the Kamaitachi are both resounding with all the negative, just, emotion and feeling that is permeating the area. And it's all because this protective barrier has now encased, seemingly to protect, at least that's the monster yokai thought on the whole affair, that Ushio's mother has put it up to protect Hakumen no Mono from attacks so it can rejuvenate and eventually come back and all that kind of stuff. And thus, again, bring it full circle. They want to kill Ushio for that reason. If they do so, I feel like they're going to take out the one thing that can destroy Hakumen no Mono for good, forever. And I really love that I've been saying in the last couple episode discussion videos that all of these yokai monsters and things and people that Ushio are running into, it seems like he is perhaps building allies to his cause. And very much so in this episode, do we see that the Kamaitachi, siblings are willing to go on the attack. They're attacking their fellow yokai monsters and creatures who would attack them because they don't want to go after Ushio. They are defending Ushio's cause because while they hate humans and they hate humanity for all of the wrongdoings humanity has done against them, they see the good in Ushio. They see what he's been able to do. He's different as far as they're concerned, and they are fighting for him. They have become his allies, much as I speculated, and I think we'll see more of that with Saya and Omamori and some of the other characters as well, in the cause to go against perhaps Hakumen no Mono, if that's not, it doesn't turn out to be a one-on-one thing with Ushio and Hakumen no Mono. And I wonder if there's going to be a confrontation with Ushio's mother and all this kind of stuff, but I mean, just absolutely mind-blowing was this episode. Even the sort of turtle guy at the little pond, Kappa as Ushio calls him, he thanks him in the end for healing him. And even this yokai is kind of like, thank you? Really? Nobody's ever thanked me before, And so, I mean, he is forging, at least if not alliances, a positivity. He is changing the minds of some of these yokai monsters and people, humans, humanity alike, who have confronted the monsters and been confronted by the monsters to show that there can be an equal footing. We can all live, strive, and survive together. It doesn't have to be one or the other necessarily. And of course, we see that Ushio, being ever the hero, saves this old man in the middle of the forest as they're surrounded by these yokai monsters. And I had a sneaking inkling, because he's trying to get to a town that he was told by the Kappa, guy, if you get to that town, maybe the yokai won't follow you that far. And he's asking this old man where the town is, as we end the episode and such, leave off on that cliffhanger. But I have to wonder if there's more going on with that guy? Is he really a human, or is he, could he be like Hakame no Mono or something? I don't know. It would be interesting if there was a twist along those lines, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Could just be this was a bystander who got caught in the middle of it, and Ushio saved his life. But as we get on to the next episode, and as the series continues, I'm just on the edge of my seat, especially with all of the background information bomb dropped in this episode. This sort of folk-like song that they sing, talking about Hakame no Mono and Ushio's mother. She's part of the song. It's common knowledge within the yokai monster community. It's like, whoa, there's so much depth and flavor to that, especially if the majority of monsters are considering Ushio to be a threat, an extension of the threat that they believe his mother, represents and possesses. It's just going to be, a clash waiting to happen. I can't wait to see it. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 12 of Ushio to Tora. If you've seen it, if you enjoyed it as much as I did, all of the information that they bomb dropped for us, giving us the depth and the background of this entire story and this universe, if you will. And if not, why not? Let me know in the comments below. We can agree to disagree. Love having the conversation, even if we don't quite see eye to eye. It's mad fun just talking about a series like this and stories like this. So yeah, otherwise that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.